welcome back. You're here with old Barry again. After I did my last video talking about war and where do you want to be, I had quite a few people reach out and ask me, Barry, what did you think about the meeting between President Trump and President Putin? And I have a very positive outlook about that meeting, not because it's going to stop anything. It will not. And like I keep saying, put it in your calendar book. By mid-2026, you are going to see the official launching of what is a major war. But what I wanted to say is why I think it was a victory in itself is because Rule 1 for NATO, and it's explicit, never communicate with an enemy, whether it's a real enemy or a fictitious enemy, such as the case with Russia. Anybody who's fool enough to believe Russia wants to invade Europe, well, okay, you're watching a lot of mainstream, but to be honest about it, what would Russia gain, even if they wanted to, other than debt? So then you'd have all the people from Italy and France, oh, you're going to pay us in lira now, you're going to pay us in francs, our pensions? That's about it. They have no natural resources, no oil, gas, no gold to speak of, and everything, the only one thing they share in common in Europe is massive debt. And even their breadbasket, Germany, is over 3.5% smaller than it was a year ago. I'm not saying 3.5% down on GDP. I'm saying smaller. The country is smaller. In other words, sorry about that truck, but in other words, fewer businesses, okay? The economy shrank. And understanding that what I just said about Rule 1 for NATO and Rule 1 for anything to do with neocon is never talk with the enemy. Now why? Well, gosh, you're liable to come up to some sort of agreement. And that's completely against everything they want. They don't want no agreements. They want war. War is profitable for them. And if you think they care about your children and people you're willing to send to the front lines because of ignorance, well, you got another thing coming to you. So that is my summing up in terms of the actual meeting itself. It was a success no matter how you want to look at it, just for the fact that they met and they spoke. Now let's continue on. Is it going to do anything? No. Europe, let me phrase it this way. It's kind of like, it's so much easier to break up a relationship, a friendship, or a marriage than it is to keep it going. And the reason behind that is, pardon me while I look at traffic. Yep, the reason behind that is, if one wants to break it up, it breaks up, but it takes two to make it succeed and prolong. Europe is in dire straits in terms of its financial stability. They know they can't win a war against Russia. It's a joke. But that's not the point. The point is to give the people something to talk about and alleviate the simple fact of blaming the government for what's going to soon be a default. It's the reason why I said before, you're seeing digital currencies being pushed in Europe so fast, it's mind-boggling. They're not even getting the P's and Q's in place, and they're still going to try and test launch it. Why? Currency is leaving Europe at an alarming rate, like never, ever before. And with that in mind, do you want your currency in a bank where there's liable to be tanks rolling down the street? Or do you want it somewhere like it always in history flows? It flows to the West. It flows to America every time. Take a look at history, not what I'm saying and not what anything else is coming up into effect. Just take your history and learn by it. Anyway, the other question is, where do you want to be? Where do you want to be when all this is happening? Well, welcome back. Weather change, so I just thought I'd finish this up in the old garage here. This is where I pretty much take care of Papayota, which gets us all over the country. So I want to continue and kind of exit out on this video. Real quick, I keep on stressing, where do you want to be? Where do you want your funds to be? While I do expect, and it's already beginning, so I'm not wrong with it, but I do expect a significant increase, like I said, by second quarter of 2026 regarding the uptick in this war, because it is going to happen, because when nobody wants peace and they're doing it for ulterior motives, there's a slim chance it's going to happen. Russia's been the only adult at the table. Everyone else is playing checkers while they're playing chess, and they are an incredible military that you do not want to go up against. Now, while I say this about Europe, in terms of do you want your money in a bank where there's tanks liable to be rolling down the street or bombs actually falling from the skies, I am fairly confident the same will not happen in America. Why do I say this? They don't need to. The simple fact of it is, they'll be attacking grids in Western countries. Grids, electrical grids. Everything comes to a standstill in countries like the US should there be electrical failures. Now, not many people do this kind of research, but what basically is powering all your stations, and it's uranium. Where does almost all of America import its uranium from? You got it, Russia. And nobody ever talks about it. All they got to do is stop the supply. And the country will tear itself apart from within, as you're already beginning to see with many of the rises in the volatility in terms of different races, different beliefs, but they're all US citizens fighting each other. And is it by design? Probably. Trends and paradigm shifts happen no matter how you look at it. But the largest reserves of uranium are in countries like Russia, South Africa, Australia I think is number one, but I'd have to look into it, India, and except for Australia, tell me what they all have in common. They're all members of BRICS. The US was offered to join and be part of BRICS 3 or 4 times now. And their answer is, well, yeah, but we control it, right? And no, that's the whole purpose of BRICS. It's not to be controlled by any particular country. It's to be connecting countries through negotiation, through business, through offering what they have, whether it is natural resources, whether it's technology, whatever the case may be, and the ability to deal in their own currency. They never had a desire to destroy the dollar. They couldn't destroy the dollar. That's going to be the last man standing. The simple fact is they're saying we want ability, and already about 70% of these transactions are happening by bypassing the dollar because of the SWIFT issues. Why should, let's say, South Africa have to switch to a dollar and then to a ruble if they want to buy something from Russia, and the West makes a exchange on the conversion of currencies? They're not doing anything. So now you'll find India's dealing direct, you'll find China's dealing direct. They're all dealing with their own currencies direct, and they want America to be part of this. America is still the biggest consumer economy. It is not the biggest economy. That's obviously China with over 2 billion people in it, but consumer economy. And China happens to be rapidly catching it, and it will be the next area that is going to be the world's most powerful economy. They are teaching their people to consume their own products, yada yada. It goes on in terms of the kind of tariffs that Trump is putting on to try and make things equal. There's a point that could work, but it's way beyond that point in terms of the ridiculous percentages. But anyway, I'm asking you again, where do you want to be? There are several small countries that are really not part of this. I just happen to live in one of them, and by gosh, I am glad I do, because I see the differences in terms of even my friends in the West and other people. I have subscribers in various countries, and I do see changes, but I do see changes here, but let's say on a much more casual basis than I do in most other countries. And that to me is something that's very reassuring. So consider your options and consider, where do you want to be when these things start taking effect? They're taking effect now, but it's not like a light switch. These things occur over time, more like a dimmer switch, like in your dining room if you have one. Okay? If you decrease light, automatically darkness increases. Okay, so I guess darkness isn't the opposite of light, it's the absence of light. So as you see things change, they're going to change like a dimmer switch, okay? Slowly, as one increases, the other will decrease. That holds true with your freedoms, that holds true with anything, that holds true with the CBCDs and violence and everything else. So I hope this pretty much kind of gives you an idea to think about, and why so many people now are voting with their feet and going to various countries. There's a multitude that are going to withstand this a lot better, a lot safer. They offer great education. They offer a higher quality of life. They offer all of this at a fraction of the price. So you consider what's right for you. And if staying in your home country is right for you, then that's a choice that's correct for you. It's not a one-size-fits-all. Till next time, it's old Barry.